Hi, I'm Martha Haythorn, Public Policy Intern and Grassroots Connector with the ARC, Georgia, and welcome to Mondays with Martha! We opened Season 2 honoring the memory of Dawn Alford, who passed away Sunday in July 2019. Dawn was the Public Policy Director at the Georgia Council on Developmental Disabilities and had a major impact on policies supporting people with disabilities, to live, work, and play in their communities. So, let's get started! With us today is Eric Jacobson, Executive Director of the Georgia Council of Developmental Disabilities. Eric and I will share a few of Dawn's many accomplishments and reflect on her powerful influence in the disability community. Eric, thank you for joining us.
Martha, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here with you today.
Let's get started.
Okay.
I can only imagine our viewers know all about the Georgia Council on Developmental Disabilities. But just in case, would you please tell us a little more about your organization?
Sure. So the Georgia Council on Developmental Disabilities is an organization that is charged with creating change in the state of Georgia through advocacy and building of new kinds of ideas and projects so that people with developmental disabilities are more independent, they're more economically self-sufficient, they're integrated and included in their communities and self-determined in their lives. And we do this because we believe that everybody has the ability to have their own home, their own job, go to school, right, have influence over their lives, and have quality supports. And we think we can do that through public policy, through information and advocacy, and by funding different projects that allow us to do those kinds of things. So that's a little bit about the council.
Well, thank you, policy, right? Okay.
Right.
Our next question is, what impact did Dawn have at the Georgia Council on Developmental Disabilities?
Well, Dawn had an amazing impact on the organization. First of all, she had this dynamic personality, as we all know, and so she came to us, and we always laughed and smiled. So that's a great part right there, right? And then I think the other piece is that she really kind of showed that people with disabilities can have leadership roles in organizations like the council, where she was working with legislators daily. And I think what's amazing about what Dawn did is, I don't think any legislator at the Georgia General Assembly did not know Dawn. And so I think the impact was that she really elevated our relationships with especially legislators.
I mean, Dawn is so memorable to all of us here in disability. Go Dawn!
Go Dawn!
Dawn taught me how to listen to my voice. How has Dawn helped you think about advocacy?
The ways that Dawn helped me think about advocacy are vast. I mean, because we had conversations almost every day about what would advocacy look like in Georgia. And she really helped us rethink the relationship component and the disability component of our advocacy efforts.
Eric, do you have any last thoughts or anything else you would like to say about Dawn?
I think that the other thing about Dawn is that I think she had an impact on people like you in terms of creating leadership positions for people with disabilities. I think that if Dawn was still around, I could see her into the future mentoring people like you to take her position as the public policy director and allow her to step up even further in organizations. So I think the most important thing is that she was a role model for other people, younger people, about what they can accomplish in life.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Eric, for making this memorial video for Dawn.
Thank you.
All the more special.
Thank you. And thank you for thinking about her and having this first episode of the second season about Dawn. I think that shows you how special she really was.
Yes, it does, and I'm glad for that. Thank you so much for watching Monday to Smarter. If this is your first time watching, please subscribe by clicking the red subscribe button below. Lastly, we want to hear from you. What advocacy skills do you learn from Dawn? Take a minute to say below in the comments. Together, we can keep Dawn's hard work alive. This is Magda.
And this is Eric signing off from
Monday to Smarter. How would you, Dawn, define disability?
That's a great question. And really when I think of the word disability, I think about it in two ways. Some people identify as having a disability because maybe they do things differently. But as someone who does public policy, advocacy for a living, disability is defined by different systems so that people can access services and care that they need. In life, we all have strengths and weaknesses, don't we? Like, we all have gifts, and we all have things that, we're better at than others. So really, disability is just a way to connect to services that you might need, and it really just depends on which service or which policy you're looking at as to how that particular policy may define disability.